Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for TWiT specials is provided by CacheFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is TWiT Live special number 236, recorded January 21st, 2015. Microsoft's Windows 10 announcement. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this TWiT Live special covering the big Microsoft announcement. With me today is Megan Morrone, the anchor of TN2, our evening news program. Hello, Megan.
Thanks for having me, Mike. I'm really excited to be up this early.
Me too. Now, you've been essentially writing about and for Microsoft for a while, right? So you're
yes,
very familiar with these people.
I am familiar with them. Since Windows XP. So It's been a while. It's been several iterations of events like this where we're really excited for the next thing. And
yay!
Yeah, so I am excited to see what they have to offer.
Me too. I think that they skip one every time. They've now skipped two. Yeah. So this is now it's their turn to really have an awesome out of the ballpark event. So we've got the video now, and so now we'll join the live stream, and we'll be commenting on it as we go forward.
Windows 10. It's great to see some familiar faces, some new faces, and welcome the many, many more that are joining via webcast today.
Terry Myerson is speaking. He's the Executive Vice President for Operating Systems at Microsoft.
This is the second of several Windows 10 conversations we're planning to have.
Well, there we go. They should have used Apple's technology for streaming video. Well, actually, no. Then we'd have the truck schedule. All right, so that's Terry Myerson. He came out to launch this thing. I think that was expected. What's probably going to happen is we're going to hear some opening remarks from him. He'll probably introduce Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella. This is pretty much his first year. He's been for almost a full year now as the CEO of Microsoft. We will inevitably hear from Joe Belfiore and Phil Spencer and maybe some others as well, depending on what it is that they announce here exactly.
Well, The Verge is live blogging, and they apparently said that we're going to see Cortana like never before, and entirely new ways of being productive and having fun. I'm excited.
So that's an Xbox reference, no doubt.
Yeah.
The big news, of course, is going to be the Windows 10 consumer, well, Windows 10, right? We assume it's going to be a consumer preview. We're going to see probably, almost certainly, the return to the Start menu. We're going to see Cortana baked into Windows 10. And we're going to see an effort to sort of join Windows 10 at the hip with the mobile platforms. I think Microsoft is expected to make it super easy for developers to take Windows applications and turn them into mobile apps for tablets and smartphones.
Right, because the idea makes perfect sense. I mean, why not have everything look the same? And that was the idea in Windows 8. We're going to have your tablet look the same as your desktop, but it didn't exactly work. I don't know if you spent a lot of time using Windows 8, but I mean, if you use a keyboard and mouse, it wasn't the best experience.
Windows 8 was not successful. It wasn't a super failure like Vista, but it wasn't successful enough.
And Windows 10.
And so now we're getting the feedback, so let's listen in.
Enabling our enterprise customers to be more productive than ever before, simplifying management and deployment for IT, and working seamlessly with existing enterprise apps. But most importantly, Windows 10 will protect corporate data better than ever. In fact, the hardware-based security of Windows 10 would have countered the techniques used in several of the recent headline-making attacks.
All right, so one of the things that you might want to do, in addition to listening to and watching this broadcast, our live blab of the event, is to check out Paul Thurrott's Twitter feed. He's at twitter.com/Thurrott. Let's go back to the event.
The most productive devices on the planet with keyboard, mouse, and touch. Our hardware partners are doing amazing work in this area, introducing several new designs at CES, thinner and lighter with amazing screens. The Windows 10 Continuum experience enables these incredible 2-in-1 devices that switch back and forth between the keyboard mouse mode and the touch tablet mode. Windows 10 on tablets, phablets, and phones will provide the best mobile experience for our Windows and Xbox users.
Xbox.
With Windows 10, universal Windows apps come to Xbox One, the most fun game console ever. And Windows 10 has support for today's maker boards, enabling makers to do incredible things with Windows in the fast-growing Internet of Things space. Windows 10 is the only platform that enables innovation across this broad family of devices. Developers can target all of these device types with one platform and one store. And stay tuned until later today as our device family expands. Now, since September, we have received a lot of feedback from customers, partners, and press. But the most important feedback has come from our Windows Insider program. We're humbled that 1.7 million have signed up to shape Windows 10 with us. They've installed Windows 10 over 3 million times.
Humility.
On a
Bill
broad
Gates would
spectrum
have
of
never stood for that.
This is a testament.
All right, so we lost the video again. So it looks like they're having trouble. Last time we did the Apple event, they had trouble with their video, lots of trouble. If you recall, during the Apple event, we got the Chinese language translation, we got the truck schedule, we had all kinds of problems. Okay, we're coming back to the video.
It's early, but the commitment these insiders are showing to the program. Collectively, these insiders have shared with us over 800,000 pieces of feedback on over 200,000 topics. And our team is really embracing this feedback and leaning in to this new open development process. And I wanted to let you hear directly.
There's a joke in there somewhere, yeah, exactly.
The Windows Insider program is a global program. It provides essential feedback directly to Microsoft and directly to the hands of the PMs and developers building the product.
We went through the effort to ask questions and give our engineers the capability to get your feedback because we want to make the best possible product that we can for you.
It will result in a better global product for Windows.
Windows Insiders are hugely important to us. We love you guys.
Do we know what the difference is between a Window Insider and a beta tester?
Where we work together to build the best Windows 10 possible.
You know, there are 1.5 billion people in the world who use Windows. When we get your feedback, it makes it easier.
If only there was a search engine.
The product matches your expectations. So thank you.
We really appreciate the fact that you are giving time out to give us feedback to help make a difference in Windows, and we truly appreciate your help.
This feedback that you send through the Windows feedback applications gets sent to a Microsoft data center, and then we process this into something that's
we mentioned Paul Thurrott's Twitter handle, Thurrott on Twitter. You can also follow Mary Jo Foley. It's another great one. All right, so they're, again, having video problems. It's coming and going. Let's see if they can hang in there.
This is really the future of building Windows. We're doing it together.
We're getting feedback from 226 different geographies around the world.
And we owe it to you to read each one of those comments that you give us and to take actions on it.
We know how much time and dedication you are giving us. Without you, we wouldn't be where we are today.
When we started Windows 10, we had a vision of
now they're blaming the users.
Windows switchers, so Alt-Tab and Task View. And one of the pieces of feedback
one thing I'm really interested in is this one core that that's their integration.
So we made a change based on your feedback.
But it's so close to OneCare.
Yeah.
Do you remember OneCare?
Yes, yes. There may be a lot of that. Their version of Apple's continuity is expected to be called Continuum, which is just another word for continuity, sort of.
Right.
So that's
repay your investment.
They're bad at naming things.
Well, I'm really fascinated because OneCare was their internet security, and it was a paid service, which failed pretty. I mean, it was because they couldn't integrate security because of all the antitrust cases. But one of the things that I remember that was funny about OneCare was that if you pronounce it in British language, it's like OneCare or Wanker.
Yeah.
And so they got a lot of criticism.
Microsoft Wanker.
Yeah, exactly, Wanker. And I wasn't sure if we could say Wanker on the show, but since you said it, good.
Yeah.
But to name it One Core, which is so close, is funny.
Yep. Okay, that video is over. Their point was that we're listening.
Yes.
Your feedback and your time are really helping to shape the future of Windows. And if you have not joined, Now is the time. Please go to windows.com and sign up for free. So now, I want to take you back to when we were envisioning Windows 10. Windows has always been grounded in the idea that technology should help individuals and organizations do great things. At that time, we identified three areas that were ripe for innovation and improving our customers' lives. We think of these areas, three areas, as moving Windows from our heritage of enabling a single device to what we're calling more personal computing. The first of these areas was mobility of experience. The number of smart devices that families, ourselves, or in the workplace is just exploding all around us. It should be easy to put one device down and pick another up, and continue where you left off. The technology needs to get out of the way and provide mobility of the experience. The second area was trust. In our connected world, we know that people care about their privacy, and so do we. So everything we do puts the customer in control, because you are our customer, not our product. And the third, natural interactions. Interacting with technology should be as natural as interacting with people. Voice, pen, gestures, and your gaze should help you get more out of your devices in an additive and intuitive way. The right interaction in the right way. Time. So I want to share with you two cinemagraphs we created back then,
also known
the
as
earliest
GIFs
days of
or
Windows
GIFs.
10. Before we wrote a line of code, we wanted the team to be visualizing the world in which Windows 10 would live and how Windows 10 would add value for our customers. These cinemagraphs inspired us and got us dreaming about more personal computing. First, we envisioned the workplace. There's that explosion of devices, many running Windows, some not. And while these individual devices offer value, they struggle to work well together. The apps are different. The content is hard to move around between my devices. And not only my devices, but those of my colleagues in the company. Every meeting starts with a dance about how to project, or ends with this discussion about how do we get meeting notes out or the whiteboard out to everyone involved. The mobility of the experience just isn't there. You should be able to print with a flick or transfer a Skype call with a simple, natural, and intuitive gesture.
You hear that, Jason? You should be able to transfer a Skype call with an intuitive gesture.
The data is protected and managed as it moves between all of these devices. We were inspired to bring more personal computing to the workplace.
And by more personal computing, he means more Windows sales.
Home, we had that same explosion of smart devices. PCs, phones, tablets, game consoles, smart appliances.
Another inspiring cinemagraph.
New devices like wearables.
It's kind of spooky.
It is.
Whether doing homework or playing a great game, the opportunity is there to make an experience that is more mobile across the devices.
Glad they're thinking about virtual reality.
We see a world where you can share that experience across all the devices, using ink, voice, gestures, and gaze, making technology really come to life. And with devices being brought home from work, and younger kids having their own devices, it's important that our customers' privacy is respected and they trust the devices and the experience.
I actually think they do a really good job about privacy.
We were inspired
they have
to bring more
they get in a
personal
lot of trouble when
computing
they
to the
don't.
home
People
or
are always
workplace
watching them.
to enable our customers to do great things.
Means there's a tear in the matrix.
Now, to do this, we need the hands of our customers. But not just our work, but the great work being done by Windows developers.
Lord Dragon in chat room's asking, I have no idea what this guy's actually talking about. It's just a preview. I'm sure he's just teeing it up for the real announcements to come.
Their next billion customers.
I think he's talking about everything.
With Windows 10.
Yeah. Vision. The vision thing.
Now today, Windows customers are spread across many versions. Implementation makes it challenging for developers to delight our customers with applications.
Do you recognize the venue that's a secret, undisclosed location on the Microsoft campus in Redmond?
I do not recognize it.
Seamlessly as possible
I
for our
don't.
customers to create a large, up-to-date customer base for
also,
developers.
always wonder how it feels for him because no one's looking at him. They're all live blogging.
They're all looking at their Macs.
Yeah.
Consumers upgrade seamlessly to the latest update of Windows 8.1.
There's somebody checking Facebook right there.
And we have helped over 650 million consumers upgrade seamlessly from Windows 7 to Windows 7 SP1. For each of these customers, the security of their system
The dark horse bet is whether or not they'll mention what happened to Windows 9.
Features, making them more productive, enabling them to play
my
new
theory
games,
is that it wouldn't go over well in
enabling
Germany.
them to do more. But the engineering work to enable a seamless upgrade is only the first part. So I'm very excited to announce
Real announcement.
that for the first year after Windows 10 is available, we will be making available a free upgrade to Windows 10 to all devices running Windows 8.1.
There it is.
That's interesting.
That's a new one.
And we will also be making available a free upgrade to Windows 10 to all devices running Windows Phone 8.1.
So obviously what he's saying is that Windows Phone will run Windows 10. And that was expected, of course. We've been talking about that on Windows Weekly for a long time. Not we, they.
We've been listening to them talk
Paul
about
Perrott
it.
and Leo Laporte. But yeah, this is an interesting. This is part of their ongoing. You know, they've been making the smaller versions of Windows increasingly free because they've always been the higher price alternative, and that's always hurt them in the market in terms of market share.
Right.
But they are in the business, unlike Google, which is in the advertising business, and unlike Apple, which is really making a ton of money on actual hardware sales and all kinds of other things. Microsoft sells software. Right. That's their model. And so it's really been a pickle for them as to whether or not they, on the one hand, make money selling software, on the other hand, get huge market share by being, you know, lower cost or at no cost. And it looks like, at least for the upgrade, they're trying to get people upgraded for free. And that's very significant.
It is. I mean, because they've had a lot of criticisms. People don't like it when, you know, they stop getting support or they stop, you know, people were hanging on so tightly to Windows XP. It was crazy. I mean, just is so old and just like, why won't Microsoft update it? And it's, so they're listening, obviously, which is good. Well,
they're also dealing with a rapidly changing market. I mean, Apple gives away their, you know, of course, it's easy for them to do, of course, but they've been giving away their upgrades, and Google, of course, undercuts everyone in the operating system business on mobile platforms. So it's really something that they kind of had to do. Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Do we have the stream back or not yet?
We don't. They're still hung up there, but the event is continuing. So we're monitoring the Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley's Twitter feeds, a couple of live blogs, and so on. But they're continuing to go through some of these sort of previews to what they're going to announce. Joe Belfiore is going to demo Windows 10 on PCs, tablets, and 2-in-1s. That is happening as we speak. He's coming out on the stage. We can't see it, of course, yet because their stream is not functioning. But one of the things that we're certainly looking forward to is this continuity between platforms. I think it's very important to them. Microsoft, of course, is very successful, huge on desktops, and they've not been successful on mobile devices, especially on phones. And you know, their smartphone global market share is under 3% in the third quarter of last year, which is lower than it was the year before. So they're not only a tiny part of the market, but they're a declining part of the market.
And they're good phones. I mean, it really is, a lot of times it's just people's personal choice. It was interesting, he talked about kids and kids' privacy, of course, and that was something that we've talked about a lot gathering personal information from kids. But I mean, kids is also an area where they really have trouble. You know, you walk into a mall where there's an Apple store and a Windows store, a Microsoft store, and I don't know about everyone else's kids, but my kids are like, well, what's that? You know, they know Xbox, but they don't know Windows, and it's not, you know, it's no longer part of the schools. I mean, that's where Google's coming in, you know, with Chromebooks for the schools. So that's an area where I think that they hope to gather more market share.
Yeah.
To its small
so here's
mode,
Joe
which is
Belfiore.
familiar to those people coming from Windows 7. Now, another of the areas insiders asked about, and that there were a bunch of questions around, was how are we going to deal with the touch gestures, and how is the charms bar going to evolve? And I want to show you here. When I pan in from the right, we now bring up our updated Action Center. And the Action Center is the place where you can do quick actions. Like down here on the bottom, I can expand.
Should something that's over on the right be called the center?
And you'll see I have things like a fast way to turn on or off airplane mode. Up above, we have notifications, and these are coming from all the apps that you have installed on your system. And one of the cool new things in this build, I can expand these notifications here.
You can see they're showing it in the desktop mode. That's what they're getting.
Things like
that's going to be a new change, I think. They recognize people really when they're on a desktop, they want desktop mode. They don't want all the tiles.
Right. The stream is freezing again. What we missed when it was frozen before was that the start menu is back, of course, as predicted.
Yes.
And it's by default the conventional Windows 7 start menu, but you can also make it full screen. You can have this full screen start menu. I think that's a good thing. When they kill the start menu, everybody complains. So here's Joe Belfiore again. Joe Belfiore is the Corporate Vice President for Operating Systems.
One last thing I want to show here in this sort of core experience evolution is how we're evolving our settings experience. So I'm going to go right here and touch all settings. We've heard our insiders say that they'd like us to fix up the confusion between the control panel and the settings in Windows 8. So we're going to bring those things together in one UI that'll be familiar to people coming from Windows 7 and handy for people used to Windows 8. So that's the core, sort of the core shell. The other thing that we really talked about in September that's very important to Windows 10 is the Continuum feature. And Continuum is about enabling a two-in-one device.
So they are going to call it Continuum,
like
as
I've been using like a laptop to transform
basically continuity, but let's see how they
sort of
implement it. That we don't know that much
So let me restore some windows here, and you'll see I've got a bunch of windows open in various positions on the screen. I can move those around, use my mouse and keyboard. But when I remove the mouse and keyboard, you'll see
that it freezes the video.
So it's interesting, you know, the Apple's iOS, it's continuity, and theirs is continuum. And I guess it's the idea that, like, this is just going to be something that we talk. It's not going to be a thing anymore. It's just going to be accepted that all of our devices, you know, will pick up. I'm on a text message on my phone. I'll pick it up on my laptop, no matter what operating system we're using.
Yeah. And what he was demonstrating there was the fact that the system knows if you remove the keyboard, it goes into, you know, the proper mode, which is nice. You know, Jason, this is a Microsoft product here, so why don't you try rebooting it? We're trying to get the video going. We don't know where this problem is. It's probably on Microsoft's end. There are probably lots and lots of people watching this, so we'll see how that goes. Now, Belfiore is continuing to demo Continuum, and what actually happens when you remove the keyboard, we almost saw that before the video froze, was that it asks you, do you want to go into tablet mode?
Right.
You can say yes, and then it's in tablet mode. It doesn't happen entirely on its own automatically. So it's a good feature.
And bringing back the start button is interesting too. I mean, do you think that Microsoft is more likely to do things when people complain like that rather than Apple? I mean, and there's some things that people complain about with Apple, and then basically Apple's just like, okay, well, that's what we've decided. Get used to it.
Apple is at the risk of being accused of being overly biased toward Apple. They're unusually visionary. They decide in advance what they're going to do, and then they go do it. And it's not entirely 100% how they do things. They do make changes based on user feedback. But companies like Google and Microsoft are much, much more focused on trying to give users whatever they want, whatever that is.
Even if they shouldn't want it.
Yeah, so all these companies have a vision of where they'd like to go. But Microsoft and Google and most other companies in the industry, especially, you know, Samsung and others, they don't really know where they want to go. Whereas Apple is very, very forceful. One of my favorite examples is when the when Apple came out with the iPhone 7, I'm sorry, the iPhone in 2007, it was a new thing because it didn't have a keyboard. That was the thing about it that was freaking everybody out.
Yes.
And it's hard to remember now, but at the time people are like, nobody can type on a screen. It's so hard. It's difficult. And Apple said, not only are we not going to provide a physical keyboard, we're going to prevent anyone else from making a keyboard that works with this. So there was a period of a couple, 3 years where there was absolutely no physical keyboard option for the iPhone.
Right.
Because that was their vision. They didn't care who complained. They didn't care what anybody did, what actions happened, because that's their vision. So let's go back to Joe Belfiore at the event. So I'm seeing the, yeah, there we go. That's weird. That one's, they're freezing and going independently.
So
you can take me off the screen, Jason.
According to the live blog, they're going to be showing us some builds that aren't finished. So he says this is a bit of a risk. And we're going to see some glitches. We're familiar with that.
Yeah, it's brave of them to actually run the real software, because they've been, famously had some catastrophes where they tried to do things. Of course, all the major platforms have.
Right.
Apple has as well, where they try to demo something and there's a big freeze and it makes them look really bad and they subject themselves to ridicule. It's tempting to just have these canned videos, kind of like Apple did with the Apple Watch, where it's all phony.
Yeah.
So that's great that they're using real code here.
Well, I think he's talking about Cortana now for Windows 10, which will be integrated into the desktop or the laptop. It's just, which is new.
Yep. And of course, everybody wants to hear about Cortana, because there's a race to get these sort of, Cortana,
Siri.
Apple Siri, Google Now, on multiple platforms. They start out
I
on,
guess this proves you really are a personal digital assistant.
Joe Belfiore, how dare you interrupt me? How dare you? All right, let's at least go back to the audio. I don't see the video working, but I do hear the audio.
Traveling to lots of new places. How do you like meeting people in all these other countries?
I love it. It's fantastic. Fantastique. Fantastico.
All right, tone it down.
Jolly good.
Cortana.
Very nice. I imagine those phrases are coming in handy in all these countries that you're now in.
Why always women's voices?
You've learned a few languages too.
So it's an option, I think, isn't it, on Siri and others?
I think so, but yeah.
But that seems to be the universal thing. If you look at, like, recorded voices on phone systems, it's usually a woman's voice.
I expect not. It sounds like you've been practicing that one a little bit. Any other big news?
Do you mean like...
Can't tell if that was her pause or stream.
Yeah. And that's them? That's on their end? We don't know for sure where the stream is having problems and where it isn't, but it is having problems and we're having trouble getting that stream. So we're continuing with Joe Belfiore here. He's continuing with the announcement. He's talking about Cortana and demonstrating Cortana. And as I was saying before he so rudely interrupted me, Cortana is part of this race to get it on multiple platforms. And that's, I think, going to be the big news here, is that they're almost certainly going to be building it in to the operating system, Windows 10, and also into the expected browser that is codenamed Spartan. Here we go with Joe Belfiore again.
You didn't need to with all these folks on the job.
So it's official?
Let's you and I make it official right now. Cortana, we're excited to welcome you to the PC.
So there it is.
She's not that excited.
All right.
She has nothing to say about that.
So would you folks like to see how we're going to change the PC user experience by adding in a new natural interaction with Cortana running on real builds? Yes, you're all busy typing.
So John? All right, so we're having trouble with the stream again. Leo's in the chat room, and he said that it's on our end, not on Microsoft's end. So I don't know what we can do here, but probably nothing.
Okay, let's switch over here to a demo of Cortana running on the PC. And I want you to keep in mind, early builds. Early builds. Now, you'll notice here, in the builds that we're working on that our insiders will get a chance to try, down here on the taskbar, you'll see Cortana has a home. And that's because you could go there to click and type. but it's also a place where Cortana will occasionally pop up notifications and useful information, because after all, she's personal and she knows things about you and she's there to be helpful. Now,
just
remember
don't
Terry mentioned we're really trying to develop the natural interaction for all these devices. So
I actually think that's cool. That's one of the ways in which Google Now is superior to Apple's Siri, which is that it has preemptive notifications, and Cortana is going to have that on the desktop, which is really cool.
Right. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Google Now. I mean, I know it seems creepy sometimes when how much information it gets from my emails, and but it's helpful.
Yeah.
And it helps me work faster and be where I need to be, and I like that.
Yep.
So.
Lots of interesting facts that you can now ask questions about. Here's one with a little bit of local relevance. Hey, Cortana, how much will it cost to attend the University of Washington?
Exactly. $12,394 US in 2015.
Exactly. So a lot of you are already familiar with Cortana, and one of the key premises of Cortana is that she's a personal, interesting facts that you can now ask questions about. Here's one with a little bit of local relevance. Hey, Cortana, how much will it cost to attend the University of Washington?
$12,394 US in 2015.
Exactly. So a lot of you are already familiar with Cortana, and one of the key premises of Cortana is that she's a personal digital assistant who gets to know things about you as you use your PC or your phone, whatever device you're using. And one of the important characteristics for us in designing this Cortana experience was to make sure that she felt like a trusted assistant, and that anything she knew about you was transparent and available for you to manage. And Cortana is even aware of that fact herself. Hey, Cortana, what do you know about me?
Well, I have my notebook, so I know what you know you've let me know, you know?
Yes, exactly. She knows what I've let her know about me. And at any time, people can go into the notebook to see what Cortana knows about them. So here's my notebook, and you see I like getting a daily glance of my routine each morning. I track some stocks. I care about lots of sports news, and so on and so on and so on. And anytime I can add new interests to Cortana's notebook manually if I'd like. I can remove things from here if she's learned them incorrectly or if I simply don't want her to know those things. And those interests make her smarter, not just when she answers questions, but also when she pops up information. And whenever you click here to engage with Cortana, the Cortana homepage shows up, and you'll see helpful things that she's providing to you proactively. You can see here she's tracking a flight that my wife is going to be on tonight. Here's some stock information, sports news. Obviously, I'm interested in news about the Super Bowl, and so on, and so on, and so on. So that's Cortana's homepage experience right there, and that's available whenever I click to type. I know a lot of you have tried Cortana on the phone, and when we brought Cortana to the PC, we didn't want to just take only the phone experience and put it on the PC. We wanted to educate Cortana about PC kinds of things so that she would be uniquely useful on the PC device. So there's lots of things that we're teaching her to be able to do that are helpful on the PC. Hey, Cortana, show me PowerPoint slides about the charity auction. There we go. Cortana, part of the Cortana experience is a search capability that can look on your local hard drive, in your OneDrive, and even on your OneDrive for Business to aggregate together documents that you might want to be able to find through natural queries, whether you're speaking them or typing them. And that's interesting for business use cases, but it's interesting sort of for personal use cases too. Hey, Cortana, show me from December.
Okay, so we're having the stream. So that both machines froze. So that, I don't know what's going on there, but we had two different machines and they both froze. 3 machines running, they all froze. Anyway, I think the important thing that has to be said here at this point is the importance of a Cortana on the desktop for Microsoft can't be overemphasized. They have no shot at all of Bing overtaking or catching up to Google search. And search, of course, is massively important. But Microsoft, with its dominance on the desktop, can have a huge impact in the alternative, the future alternative or the successor to regular searches, which is artificial intelligence agents type of queries. That's really where search is going. Instead of, typing in a search query and getting a result, you're going to just ask a question and get an answer. Right. And so this is their big shot to do that. It's got to be Cortana on the desktop.
So you're not as interested in the personal assistant part of it?
No, I am. But for Microsoft, in order to get a foothold in the search and contextual marketing and all the rest, this is their shot because that's where they're dominant.
Right.
Do we have audio on that?
No, I was running and then it stopped.
Okay. All right. So and so I think this is one of the reasons they're probably accelerating that. And again, I think the world is ready for this. And it's certainly you have to look at it not just as a source of information or as a tool or a toy, but it's a user interface. It's a user interface to everything potentially. Right now, it's it's kind of like search. It's kind of gives you a user interface, your calendar, and things like that. But as we move forward and more things are added to this, this will become a user interface to everything to the point where it's going to be like Star Trek. We just talk to the computer and the computer does things for you. And that's really how I think most people are going to be using computers in the future.
Yeah.
So it is Hey Cortana. And
but apparently also it's going to be calibrated to your particular voice too. That's part of what they're selling, I think, as opposed to Google, which is just anyone.
And that was an interesting feature. The first time I really interacted with that was on Moto X, where you did that, and it was amazing because other people would give it commands and nothing would happen. I think that's important when they're on mobile devices, especially. So here's Joe Belfiore again.
Play my music.
Queuing up your music.
You can imagine the family dynamic now, and you got this extra member of the family right there ready to tell you facts about the world or play your music. Or
well, it's sort of like the Amazon Echo too, that now those features are, you've seen that device. It's not out yet, but it's just, but that is not, it's smaller. It's not a laptop, it's not a desktop, but I guess if Cortana's in your phone, it can do the same thing.
I think it is shipping. Actually, I think they are shipping it. At least we've had Tech News Today fans who are using it to listen to Tech News Today. That was fun to hear about that. But yeah,
I haven't gotten mine yet.
Oh, you ordered it and haven't gotten it yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, they said April or May.
Okay.
But mine will have a male voice.
Yeah.
And I will name it Bob.
Okay.
You heard it here first.
Put a little head on it, and but yeah. So I mean, that's another. Example of I think where we're headed. I think that in terms of the hardware for that, I really think that they are way ahead of the curve. I think that home automation and home systems in the future will have microphones and speakers, and you just be able to walk around the house and talk to your Cortana or Amazon's version of the assistant. I think it's called Samantha or something like that, like the movie Her.
Oh, really?
Something like that. They haven't been explicit about branding the software part of it. They've been trying to sell the hardware part of it. But again, that's how people are going to be interacting with computers. And I think that Amazon is really onto something because this isn't just a laptop or mobile device. This is the room has a mic and speakers. You talk just generally. You don't care where the inputs are, where the outputs are. You just talk and you get the answer, voice of God, like everywhere in the house. And that's really how it should be. I think that's really where it's going. And so, in addition to having it on your Windows PC or on your Mac or your, whatever, your browser running device, it's got to be in the house generally. You want it in the bathroom. You want it in the garage. You want it everywhere.
Right. And this is just another reason to be on one platform. They're trying to give you, because what if you had Siri and Samantha and Cortana and your Amazon Echo and they were all talking to you? That would be crazy.
Yeah. It will be crazy. I'm sure that's going to happen.
Yeah.
You're not going to have a family where everybody's on the same platform. That's, you're going to have people on different platforms and it's going to be hilarious.
Right. But yeah, I wonder, because you can get Google Now like on an Apple device. I mean, I think you can probably get it on a Windows device too. Sure. So, but I wonder if you can do the same. If they'll let you have Cortana on your iPhone.
Yeah. All right, let's see what Joe Belfiore is talking about.
Oh, I wanted to get a reminder. I wanted to send somebody an email. Well, now I have a personal assistant right there with me whenever I'm using the PC. I can ask her to do things on my behalf. So here I am in my spreadsheet. I want to remember to send an email. I can just say, hey, Cortana, send an email to Terry Myerson.
What's your email about?
A very big moment.
What do you... Email Terry Myerson about a very big moment. Saying this is Cortana's first email from a PC. Congratulations. Send it. Add more.
Send it.
I've sent it. I've sent it.
Great. We'll have Terry forward that on to the team. Hopefully you get a sense that PC really will provide a new natural way for people to interact with these PC devices, whether they're small, light form factors you're carrying around, or an all-in-one that's in a room of your home or office. It is the world's most personal digital assistant, and now millions and millions of people who will all have a chance to get to know Cortana and will continue making her smarter and more capable as time goes on. She has an integrated search capability that makes her able to do uniquely tasks like finding files and finding photos. And what you saw here is the current state of our builds. This capability will be rolling out to insiders for us to work on and tune over the next several months, including getting to various countries as we ramp up towards our launch. So that is Cortana on the PC. Next, I'm going to change gears and talk a little bit about some devices that we haven't shown yet. I want to focus now on phones and small tablets. Now, as you've seen in a bunch of our presentations, and as Terry mentioned, Windows 10 is designed for a wide range of devices, a very wide range. But what we're doing is tailoring it to be appropriate in its user experience for certain form factors. And what you've seen so far is the tailored version of Windows 10 for devices that are 8 inches and above. So that's laptops, desktops, 2-in-1s, and even the 8-inch tablet that you saw me bring out on stage before. What I'm going to show you now is the Windows 10 version that's tailored for devices that are smaller than 8 inches. So think about small tablets and a wide range of phones at all sizes. I'm going to show you a build that we are working on now to roll out to insiders in a little while. It is a little rough. Again, we're going to be looking at code that's being developed, but let me show you what the experience is like when we have Windows 10 on a phone or small tablet. So what I have here is a Lumia 1520. Let me see if I can pull myself out here a little farther. This is a Lumia 1520 running a recent build of Windows 10. And I'm going to show you, first I'm going to focus just on the core experience and give you a sense of how it aligns with the PC, how it'll be a great companion to the PC. So let me unlock. And the first thing you'll notice, the start experience is quite familiar to people who've been using Windows Phone in the past. But if you look there, you can see in the background, I've got a full bleed customized background image, a nice personalization feature that a lot of our users have been asking for. If I pan over to the right, you'll see we've promoted the recently installed apps right to the top of the app list. So they're really easy to find when you're installing and using apps. So another feature that we've been getting lots of requests for. Action Center, which has added some new features and is now synced up with the PC. Things like dismiss single items that are shown here as notifications. I can now expand the action buttons just like you saw on the PC.
I really like their interface for this kind of thing.
Familiar experience from one device to another.
So now, am I right? They're going to roll out the Windows mobile platform after the desktop platform, or all at the same time?
The same across the PC.
I mean, they're right now they're talking about the phones, Windows 10 running on the phones.
It's easier for people to find things. Something we've been getting a lot of requests for from people. Oh, look at this.
And will that all come out at once?
I'm getting a
Is that what
they haven't announced,
in the middle of my demo.
I would expect that
can't be a coincidence,
they might.
Can it? So I also wanted to give you a quick look at how we're evolving input and messaging, which we view as part of the core experience of phones. So here I'm getting this text from Marcus. When is Cortana going to send her first email to the team? Well, she did that already. You guys saw that. Now I'm going to reply. And of course, I think you all are familiar with the WordFlow keyboard on Windows Phone today, which is terrific. It has built-in shape writing. It learns about the things that you type. We've made some improvements there. I'm just going to give you a quick look here on this large screen phone. I can pull the keyboard right over to the right and then do my shape writing with one hand. So that's kind of cool. But I'm not going to do that right now, because the theme for today is this natural interaction and lighting these devices up with natural interaction like speech. You'll notice as well, right there above the keyboard, there's now a microphone button. So anywhere I can type, I can now talk to reply or put text into the phone, which is a super handy thing.
Virgil in the chat room is asking if the operating system will be different on mobile. It absolutely will from a user perspective. No question about that. What they're looking at is trying to make it easier for developers to
so there you see,
to have to work less hard to make their single applications that work across these platforms.
I said Terry Myerson, which of course is not a word in dictionaries, but he's a contact that I have, so that utterance was recognized, capitalized. You notice it got the hashtag as a keyword. It put some punctuation at the end of the sentence. It will do these things automatically so that when I talk to the phone, the speech system is sophisticated enough to make the text come out just right. So let me send that text message along. Now, the last thing that I want to show you about the core experience on the phone, and then I'm going to talk about a bunch of value add across all these devices, is how we're going to improve the messaging experience. And to do that, we're going to switch over here to a motion study because this code is not yet ready for me to demo in a real build. What we're doing is we're building in support to the messaging app so that IP-based messaging systems, like the ones that mobile operators are rolling out, and Skype, can be elegantly integrated right into messaging.
Nice.
So here you could see I was having an SMS conversation with Peter, but I switched over to Skype, and now, because the Skype network is so capable, as Peter is typing, as I'm getting my reply, you could see it showed that he was typing, and the message came right in. We're going to be doing work to detect these Skype-capable endpoints and automatically move to Skype so that users get the richest possible messaging experience that will communicate with the widest range of people, everyone on a mobile operator network and everyone on Skype, including the cross-platform devices on which Skype runs. So we're thrilled to be building that part of the experience with our Skype team right into messaging, right into calling, and so you'll have that rich Skype experience as part of the phone. So what you saw in the core experience of the phone and small tablet version of Windows 10 is it's tuned for devices under 8 inches. It's designed to go with your PC as a great companion that's consistent and easy to learn. And with the Skype capability, we're going to enable the widest range of people to communicate with each other richly using messaging, calling, and video. But to get a full view of the kinds of things that we're putting on phones and small tablets, and today it's not even a complete view, but to get the full view, I need to talk to you about universal apps, because we're building a wide family of universal apps that will round out the experience on phones, small tablets, and PCs. All are aware that we have a platform for writing these universal apps that runs across devices, phones, tablets, PCs, even the Xbox. And what we're doing is creating a family of apps that will be built in that will give everything they need for modern productivity. So I'm going to show you a series of these apps. I'm going to show them to you on the phone and the PC, and I want you to think about how they make the experience rationalized and easy as you go from device to device, and they offer that mobility of experience that Terry was describing. The first one I'm going to focus on is Office. I think a lot of you know our Office team has been hard at work creating killer universal apps for Windows. And we've shown some early looks at these at some conferences like our Build conference, but so far only on the PC. Today I'm going to show you a preview version of these on the phone. And just to be clear, what you're seeing are Office apps that are designed for Windows 10 and designed for touch, but we're going to continue to evolve to Office apps specifically for the PC. These ones were made for devices with touchscreens. So let me switch back over here. I'm still on the phone. And what I'm going to do is start with Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Word, Excel, and PowerPoint will be included in Windows 10 on phones and small tablets. And they're going to deliver a consistent, highly rich, and highly complete Office experience on those devices. So as I open up Word, you see I get the familiar recent document list. I'm going to choose this pretty sophisticated Word document. And it first shows up here in page layout mode. But I'm going to use this button to switch to reflow mode, which is optimized for viewing on a touch-based device like a phone or a small tablet. And you can see here it's a very
So the default view is not the mobile view.
Entirely accurate, but you really get a sense of the richness when I bring up the app bar down here at the bottom. Because what we've done is nicely format the familiar Office ribbon right into the app bar experience. Here's the Word Home tab, where I have all the formatting commands that I would expect to find in Word. I can switch the ribbon over to one of its different tabs. I'll switch to the Review tab. And you can imagine, if somebody sends me, I'm collaborating with somebody on a Word document, they've suggested some changes. I can now use the Review tab that I use all the time on the PC to move from change to change, accept a change, reject a change, add comments, read the comments, do my collaboration while I'm on the go. And with a device like this, you get a nearly no compromises experience in terms of completeness, fidelity, and richness as you're trying to create documents or collaborate with people on documents. We think this will be a great benefit to everybody trying to be productive on their phones. Now, I'm not going to show you Excel just in the interest of time, but I am going to show you PowerPoint. And so, once again, you'll see I open PowerPoint. It's that familiar Office look with the recent list right there. I'm going to open a very large and complex PowerPoint presentation. Here we go. And I want to point out that recent document list. It does roam from device to device, from version of Office to version of Office. So if I'm using full Win32 Office on my PC and editing a document in my OneDrive or OneDrive for Business, that recent list roams across devices. When I open up this PowerPoint presentation, I want to show you once again, here on the bottom of the screen, we've brought the familiar Office ribbon right to the phone's app bar experience, and I can switch here to transition view, to slideshow view, or to review view, just as I did on the phone. But I'm not going to do that. Instead, I want to show you how great a PowerPoint presentation can look when it's projected.
It's hard to really see, I mean, because that's a giant screen. Of course it looks beautiful. What does it look like on the small screen?
Graphics parts.
Yeah. Also, we're not seeing the PowerPoint put on a projector. We're seeing a close-up of the phone.
Right.
So
I'm going to keep going. You'll see the hardware accelerated.
I mean, it looks fantastic in terms of the animations. They look very smooth and fast.
Yes.
Slide animations. And all of that I'm doing today with a wire just because we have lots of people doing wireless in here. But, of course, we support Miracast, so you can present wirelessly. With these Office apps, and as part of Windows 10 on phones and small tablets, we'll also support wireless printing. So we think this version of Office, tailored for Windows 10 on touch devices, will give people a very complete, easy-to-use, consistent cross-device productivity experience. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Those three apps will come as part of the Windows 10 build on phones. And now I'm going to start talking about some apps that also come on the PC. I'm going to show you the Outlook Mail client first. Our Outlook team has been working on a new universal app version of Outlook Mail and Outlook Calendar, which will be on the phone, tablets, and PCs. So here's Outlook. The first thing I want to do is I want to show you the richness of the Outlook experience and how it fits into full Office. So I'm going to open a mail message, and I'm going to choose to reply. Because the first thing I want to show you is that here, when I'm composing an email or replying to an email, I'm using the full Word engine that's now part of the phone experience. And I can prove that by pulling up the app bar. Right here in my Outlook Mail experience, I get the same Word ribbon.
So it's the same engine for mail on both the phone and the PC.
Here in my email experience. And sort of the intensely geeky part of my demo right here for all of you in the room who I know are very familiar with Word. Word's engine supports the lorem function.
When there's packing stuff that's designed also for the PC onto their mobile devices, I would love to see them come out with super powerful phones instead of the low-end and mid-range phones that they've been doing. They need a big flagship phone for the power users to really showcase this kind of capability. I mean, performance looks good in the demo. I hope it looks good in the low-end phones, but you really want, if you're going to be jamming a lot of powerful stuff into the phones, you need a higher-end phone with a bleeding-edge processor.
You'll see on the left, I have this app switching UI, and I can bring that up on the phone so you see what it looks like on the phone. It's the same code running on both devices, but formatted to fit the right screen. And hopefully, as you saw me pan through this collection, one of your takeaways was, man, that looks nice. Joe must have done a bunch of work to set it up for the demo. Well, what we're trying to do is make the software do the work for you. So I want to describe what's going on behind the scenes here. On any device that you own, even cross-platform devices, phones, where you're taking pictures, we have a OneDrive app, and it's built in on Windows devices that uploads your images to OneDrive. On the PC, we're syncing your images down from OneDrive to the PC so they're available locally offline as well as in the cloud. This photo app is aggregating together all of those photos from all of those devices and giving you one simple view of your collection. If you want, you can go into the folders view and look at the detail, but we're going to try to give you one simple view. Once you start doing that, some bad things will happen. You'll get duplicate photos that are showing up twice. You'll get photos that are a burst shot where you took 3 of them.
Oh,
Our
they're going to go after Google
view
here.
Eliminates all those things for you automatically,
like Google+.
so that you get a look at the photos without seeing all that clutter. Another thing we do is we automatically enhance the photos to make them look nice. So,
Facebook is doing this, Google Plus has been doing this for a year or two, but they're automatically improving the photos.
Up there in the toolbar, Auto Enhance is on because it's on by default. But I'm going to show you what this would look like if it was off. I'm not sure I want that scary guy in my Christmas photo collection. Luckily, Auto Enhance handles all these things for you. I'll turn it back on. You see the red eyes are removed, the face is brightened to just the right level of brightness, and so we've made the photo look better. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about the horrific Christmas sweater. But we're still happy with the capabilities that we're building in on the PC and in the cloud to do this auto enhancement, which you'll get benefit from on all your devices. And in case you're one of those users that wants to do things manually, of course we will let you manage these settings yourself as well. You can turn any of these features off and so on. Now, not everything I described is going to be in the first build for insiders, but the features will be coming. And there's one other feature of photos that I want to show that's not yet in our builds. So we're going to run a motion study here. And this is showing our albums feature. I mentioned how we're going to automatically remove dupes, automatically improve the way
you notice how they're talking about the mobile and the desktop, and they're not making any differentiation. And so I think that was one of the expected initiatives that they're doing here, but they're really spinning it as the same thing.
That we're all in a series of photos, and then we create a collection which we call an album. If we can, we give
I
it
like
a
seeing
name.
them next to each other just to see exactly what they would look like.
But we'll do it for you. When I open one of these albums, you'll see we choose a hero image, the one that we think looks best. We show you the people that are in the album. That's me with my kids doing a 5K run. And then we choose a sample set of photos that we
climbing Mount Whitney.
We format them so they look nice on the screen. We handle all of that automatically for you. It's in the cloud, so then if you'd like to share that album with other people, you can. Our intention here is to have a Photos app.
So this is all OneDrive,
all these devices,
photos in OneDrive he's talking about, or is there another photo app?
With your multiple devices and make it work consistent across
OneDrive.
all of them. It's that mobility of experience that Terry was talking about. And part of it we can do because we're implementing it one time using our universal platform. Now, I got 3 more apps I'm going to show you. I'm going to go even faster so you get a sense of overview. We're going to do this by motion study. The first one is our People app, which we're implementing, again, as a universal app, one time across these devices. It aggregates all the people you care about across social networks, and it lets you perform quick actions like making a call or sending a message or doing a Skype video call. Next up, our music experience, which we're continuing to evolve across all these devices. And what you'll see here is how we're using the cloud to add a song to a playlist, and then it shows up magically on all your devices. That's because in about a month or 2 months, we're going to add support to our system for you to put your music collection in OneDrive and have your collection stored in the cloud so you can make changes to your playlists or to your collection on any device, and they're automatically reflected on all your devices.
That makes sense. It's basically iCloud.
I want you to see our maps.
But they haven't had it, and it's shocking that they haven't.
Yeah.
I use OneDrive. I like it.
Traffic is slow, so you can open
I still use it on my Mac.
Find an alternate route, send it to your phone, and then when you use the turn-by-turn directions to drive somewhere and you arrive, you can have Cortana remember where you parked your car, and then when your event's over, she's there to help you find where you parked. So that is a quick tour of our family of universal apps that we're building for the phone, small tablets, and PCs, and which we intend to deliver everything that you need for modern productivity, and which we intend to give you that mobile experience tailored for each device size they're on. In particular, we're excited to have Office, bringing a version of Office built for Windows 10 and optimized for touch, with Word, Excel, and PowerPoint on the default phone experience and available in the store on the PC, and with a new Outlook, Mail, and Calendar rounding out the experience so it's great for productivity. I have one more app experience I want to show you. And to do that, I want to get you thinking about the state of the web. The web is indispensable. Everybody's using it all the time. And over the last number of years, it's evolved hugely, in large part because of the explosion of highly powerful mobile devices. We've seen site authors evolving their sites in a sophisticated and interesting way and targeting a wide range of devices. And since we've had this rapid evolution of the web, and since we're building this new set of devices on Windows 10 with a universal platform, we think it's the right time to build a new browser for the modern web, which will empower our next generation of Windows users on Windows 10. So today, I'm excited to introduce you to codename Project Spartan, our new web browsing experience for Windows 10. So Project Spartan has a number of parts. First, it has a new rendering engine under the covers that's built to be compatible with how the web is written today. It has a new look and feel, which you see on the screen, that it fits right in with all this family of Windows 10 applications. And we're especially working on 3 significant new features to make you more productive on the web as you use Project Spartan. So I'm going to switch over for the last demo.
Save the best for last.
Take a look at Project Spartan running on the PC. Now, Project Spartan will not be in our very first Insider builds. It's going to come a little later, and it'll come to the phone a little after that. Now, I'm going to show you it only on the PC today, but it is coming to the phone. First thing you'll notice here is the new UI is streamlined. It fits in with the design language of Windows 10, and you can see the focus is on the content on the page. But what I want to do is just give you a taste of these 3 significant new features we're working on to help people be more productive. The first one is about how you can interact with the web, and in particular, how you might communicate with other people about the web. So, you know, sometimes web articles come out and people want to post them to Facebook, or they want to talk to other people about them. There's a lot of interaction that happens with content on the web. And this happened to our team about 2 weeks ago. And it happened when this article posted on the internet. This article comes out, and you can imagine all of us are simultaneously horrified and kind of happy. And so, of course, within our team, we communicated with each other about this article on the web. But
nice
we
plug
had
for The Verge.
Yeah.
So we didn't simply send emails. Many of us had devices that work with pens or styluses, which I have here. So I'm going to switch into the first of these big 3 features, our note-taking mode. And you could imagine when I saw this and I said, "Ho, baby, you know, sometimes you guys don't get it right. But sometimes you do." So, you know, we saw this and we were excited, and we communicated with each other by marking up the web directly. And in this case, you know, I'm using a stylus, but I could do it with just my finger if I don't have a pen handy. If I want to make a little smiley face to show just how happy I am, that's possible too. And so now we have this way of expressing our thoughts right on the canvas of the web.
There have been browser plugins to do this for a long time, but it's kind of in the periphery of usage. I think if they build it right into their browser, that people use a lot more.
Let me show you how we're going to support the mode of communicating about documents that millions of people have been doing for years and years.
As opposed to just talking about them
click
to people
anywhere
face to face.
And add a comment using their keyboard. This is a good idea. So you could imagine, as we saw this article, some people had touch devices, some didn't. Everyone could comment on it using whatever form of input they had. You know, if it's touch, then it's natural. If it's a keyboard, then it's familiar. And so once I've marked up this page, there's a bunch of things I can do with it, of course. What we've done is we've frozen the web page. And that means that the content that might change on it is sort of snapped in time.
That's
but the
helpful.
links are still alive. I can then share that whole page or save that whole page for myself with my markup. Or I can go over here. I'm going to grab this clipping tool. And I'm going to just pull out this particular segment. You can see there I could save it to my OneNote because I keep a bunch of notes on things as I browse the web when I'm planning trips and so on. I could copy it to the clipboard, or I could come right up here and use the system's built-in system for sharing to share that with other people. I could share it on Facebook. I could share it on Twitter. I could share it through my email experience in a consistent way. And now I have a rich canvas for not only expressing my thoughts on the web, but for sharing them with other people as well. So that's the first of our 3 significant end user features. The second thing that we tried to do was focus on the action of reading. The predominant action on the web is reading. You're reading and reading and reading and reading. And we felt if we could make that just a few percentage points better, then we'd significantly affect the overall productivity of people on the web. So there are a few things we did. The first thing we did was we looked at how we could take and sort of standardize a great way to read sites on the web, which are variant in their level of complexity and so on. So here's an article on Bon Appetit. I'm going to switch into my reading mode right here, and you'll see we discoverably make available a standardized format way for you to read stuff on the web.
That's not a word, Joe.
You can personalize this to your liking.
It is now.
You have a way to experience the wide range of content out there on a web in a way that might feel familiar to you. We didn't stop there. We also added a reading list right into the core browsing experience. And of course, this will show up on whatever device you have. I can add items to the reading list. It's a mobile experience that goes to whatever device I'm using. And we do one more thing, which is that we'll take the content in your reading list and save it offline. So if you find yourself stuck on a flight with no Wi-Fi and your mobile device is with you, well, Spartan will deliver you content to read wherever you are. And then the last thing that we wanted to do was we wanted to make sure that we supported the broadest set of content that's out there on the web. So we built in support for PDF files. And you see right here, I have a sample PDF file. I can add that to my reading list. I can mark it up with notes in the note-taking mode. It'll be saved offline and so on. So we're really trying to ensure that the widest range of content on the web is available for people to read wherever they are. Okay, last thing. The third thing that we tried to do...
As soon as he's done with this, we're going to end our live blab of the event, and we're going to be doing TNT, Tech News Today, in just a few minutes. If you tuned in for Tech News Today, we're now with the Microsoft Windows 10 event, and we are delaying Tech News Today for a few minutes, so we'll be here with Tech News Today in just a few minutes. So he's going to make one more point here.
In simple situations like that. But because she knows you, she can help in more interesting and nuanced ways at times that might surprise you a little bit. So let's say it's my sister's birthday. It's not, but for demo purposes, let's imagine it's my sister's birthday. And her friends are having a surprise birthday party for her tonight. Remember, my wife has that flight that's coming in that Cortana's tracking for me. Man, is my wife going to get here in time for us to make it to the party? I'm not sure. I might go to the Delta website to look up my wife's flight, but luckily, Cortana knows that I'm tracking a flight because she's learning things about me all the time. And she can save me time and effort by popping up as I'm about to navigate somewhere on the web with what might be an answer to a question that I have in mind. So that's yet another example of how Cortana can help out. Similarly, as I'm browsing the web, Cortana can be right there at my fingertips, ready to let me know things about the pages I'm looking at. So you can see here, my sister's party is going to be at this restaurant called Cuoco. My wife is gluten-free, dairy-free, and I'm on a crazy diet for New Year's. And so we have this concern about a restaurant and what's on the menu, and I wonder, like, how am I going to get there from here? You notice when I visit the restaurant site, Cortana has popped up right here to tell me she knows about this place because, again, Cortana is scouring the internet, learning about people and places and getting smarter all the time. She's telling me she's got directions, hours, and more. When I click, she shows up right here within the web browser to give me details about this place. She's telling me directions from where I'm at right now.
Does she know that his wife is gluten-free? That's what I need to know.
Whatever device I'm on.
She does now.
She can book a reservation for me. She shows me the hours. I can read reviews and so on. Remember my concern about the menu? Well, Cortana's there to help too. She knows where the menu for this restaurant is on the internet. She makes it readily available. And if I'm curious about ingredients as I scan down this, I know what a lot of these things are. I'm not so sure about rapini. I can just right-click and ask Cortana, and she's right there with an answer. Luckily, rapini, only 2.7 grams of carbs, so that'll be okay for me on my New Year's diet. That's a quick look at Project Spartan. It's a new implementation of a web browsing experience built on our new universal platform, and it goes cross-device. It's great at productivity with note-taking right on the web. We're trying to tune the reading experience to make people more efficient, and it's the only browser with a personal assistant built right in. Okay, that is my look at Windows 10 and where we're at. And okay,
so we have been, excuse me, we have been listening to the TWiT Live special number 236, which is Microsoft's Windows 10 announcement. We're getting lots and lots of data so far, and lots more to come. We still haven't heard from CEO Satya Nadella, and he was promised for this event, and this is going to be continuing all day. And what we're going to do now is break for Tech News Today. Now, what you need to know is that Windows Weekly, which is normally at 11 a.m. Pacific on Wednesdays, is going to take place after Tech News tonight. That should be around 4:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Mary Jo Foley and Paul Thurrott are at the event. They'll be joining Leo Laporte as always, and they'll have tons and tons of insights on everything announced today. We also have an interview on Tech News Today in a few minutes with an analyst who's been looking at the events that have been the facts that have been announced so far. So tune in for that, and we'll be continuing our coverage today and throughout the rest of the week. There's a lot more to come, so stick around on live.twit.tv and tune in for all of our coverage. Megan Morrone, thank you so much for joining us, and you'll be doing Tech News tonight. I'm sure you can be covering tons of news from the Microsoft event.
We will. Thank you for having me.
All right, well, thank you.